level. Okay. Well, here is the top levels of the points. Setup is ready. Okay. Every setup is ready. Salam Habibi, how are you all? I hope you are fine. It's me, Michaela Caesario Santa. I'm here with you. As a title, you have noticed that what would I roast now? Well, again, I am in the live. I am roasting the Mufassil Pagla. Well, now here is a point that is very dangerous point as I mentioned. Well, uh, well, I would like to say it about our top universities, Islamic channels. But the problem is that Mufas in Islamic channel, if I want to have a live, at first I have to achieve 50, minimum 50 subscribers in the channels, Islamic channels. Well, perhaps it could be impossible for now because that is only 10 subscribers, and I am afraid if I uh, could not have a live in the next calendars because uh, in next calendar there would be new rules. If you cannot have 100 subscribers, you cannot have a right have a feature to have a live. Okay, and now let's me what was the points. Well, let me see. Well, the point was that here we can see here as a beautiful person, Mufassil the mental, I am roasting. Well, Mufassil the mental said that it was if the country, if any religious book is not true that they are claim, then when a religious book was a point claim that there would be a state, then why there would be a state? It is a dumb logic for Mufassil the mentals. Well, we can believe that Torah can be, let's say Arabic, Taurat can be, cannot be a authentic book to have a promise for a Jewish land. Well, Christian Bible does not mean Bible cannot promise a uh, Jewish land, and in Bhagavad Gita, Ved, and Tripitaks, in Bhagavad Gita, Veds, Ramans, and Mahabharata cannot promise a Hindu land. Okay. Hi. Salam, how are you? But when Ramayana and Mahabharata cannot promise the Hindu land, Taurat cannot promise the uh, uh, Jewish land, as Mufassil the mental logics. Well, because here she want to prove sometimes that every religious books, that means for demonstration, Torah, the Bible, Quran, Ramayana, Mahabharata, every verse is a imagined, or every verse is a fictional, look like fictional in their points. As Mufassil the mental said, well, I could believe, but the problem is that, okay, let me see. Salam, gaming me. I have mentioned you, Salam. Okay, but the problem is when Taurat, Jabur, in Taurat, Bible, or Raman, Mahabharat has every claim is fictional, then why Taurat land, Taurat can promise a real land for Jewish community? It is the down logic for the Mufassil fundamentals. Okay, I cannot say more things, but just let have to see. Okay. Well. It is the second point, and no.
I will ask this simple question. To all the smart
I would ask the simple question to all the smart
people
people.
in the world, anyone who is even slightly intelligent, isn't it dumb to say something is true because my religious book claims it to be true? Isn't that dumb? Isn't that a circular logic? Then, isn't it dumb as well to claim ownership of a land because a religious book gives you that right? So, isn't it dumb to claim Israel belongs to the Jewish people because a religious book says it so? That's all I want to know. Isn't it a dumb logic in this 21st century? I will ask this simple question.
Okay. Well, as a point, it is just 1 minute. Then it is in English. I cannot translate. Well, I have not translate it repeatedly from English to English. Therefore, I can off my air conditions. Okay, and now here we can see. Um, Now, as you can see that why a Jewish Almas Jacob said a several dumb logic, a several circular logic. Almas, Mufassil the mentals mentions. Well, why Mufassil the mental mentions a dumb logic like this? Well, as Mufassil the mentioned, uh, as logic is that while Taurat is a fiction, religious books to be fictionals, well, and every story with the Jewish Bible and Christian Bible can be false. Hence, there is no story. While Taurat says that the Israel would belongs to the Jewish, there would be a state named Israel. Uh, is it the illogical or not? If a Christian Bible said that there would be a state named Israel, it is illogical or not? Okay. And on the other hand, so well, here we can say, according to the Mufassil, the mentals, okay, it is recording only, okay. According with Mufassil mentals, well, every verse of Quran is fictional. So when Quran can promise Israel states, it is fiction, dumb logic or not. Here Mufassil the mentors dumb logic. And now, why would I say that there would be the dumb logic of Mufassil the mentals? Okay, at first let me see. Okay, and now we can see, well, that is the first file. Okay, here is the first file is that, well, we love Iron Man movies. Well, here is Iron Man actor. His real name is Robert Downey Jr. and his in Iron Man movie, his character name is Tony Stark. Well, what is the statement of American Jewish actor Robert Downey Jr. Statement? Well, statement is like that. The Mufassil Pagla said, my country, United States of America, is a fake country just because is mentioned in my Marvel cinematic universe every movie. Well, now while he added, accordance with logic of Mufassil Islam, I mean Mufassil Pagla, in Avengers movie, if New York City is mentioned, that means New York City does not exist. Well, in Avengers Age of Ultron movie, if Bulgaria is mentioned, that means Bulgaria does not exist as a country. If Texas City is mentioned, that means Texas provincial state does not exist. In Avengers Infinity, while Washington DC is mentioned, that means Washington DC should not exist. But reality is that Washington DC is the original capital of the United States of America. Okay. Well, now you can see that here. Well, now why I am mentioning points of American Jewish actor Robert Downey Jr. He roles a character of Tony Stark as an Iron Man movie and every movie of Avengers. Uh, okay, okay. Now you can say it. Here we can say, if New York City is well, in Avenger movies, we can say that everybody we can say that a New York movie is mentioned. New York City is mentioned, but as an Alma Jacob logic, New York City would not exist in the real world. But here is the false, and the false is that we, well, in as an atheist points of view of atheist, our religious scripture was like a superhero movies. Well, there are times that Well, our prophets contains superpowers like a modern time superhero, and perhaps in the ancient times, while sa- there was a problem of survive, well, there was some superheroes and super villains in the countries. There are some communities. Some superheroes can fly. Some could fly. Some superheroes uh, contains 100% prediction of anything. Some super villain is cruel, ruthless. Uh, okay, there was some superhero that who can split water of ocean sea and walk as walking on the road. There were actually a superhero and super villains. Mm. And but in the ancient time, there was only a survive era. We called them. We developed our mythology, and as our mythology, we accept this ancient superhero as a prophet. Well, in the Norse mythology, uh, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Greenland, and Iceland, there was a superhero exist. In a, while the era of this was the era to survive, a superhero can a superhero named Thor can use a hammer as the speed of as a 96% of the speed of light. Here sometimes it looks like a thunders. So we called them Thor or Odinson, the god of thunders. Well, there was a superhero named Hela. She, when you when some when she is angry with someone, she can curse him to have a unnatural death. And when the 100% the person contains second person contains unnatural death, in ancient times, Hela was mentioned, addressed as a goddess of death. While death cursing is just a superpower of Hela in that time, survival time. But now here is the sci-fi times. In the sci-fi era, as a modern era, um, where we can know everything that an ordinary human can be a superhero. We can treat a superhero as a superhero. We can create several fictional story accordance with our favorite superhero. But in the story, the city is real. The country is real. The national military is real. While every individual military soldiers can be fictional, but military is real. Well, judiciary system is real, well, we can it is exists in our modern comics books on Marvel Cinematic Universe and Marvel Comics. Well, now I would like to mention that Robert Downey Jr. So I have mentioned this. Well, now if Tony Stark was in ancient time, that was a survival era. Tony Stark would not be treated as a superhero. More than he would be treated as a prophet. Because Tony Stark can develop his own iron suit, and with the iron suit, he can travel 216,000 kilometer per minute. He can travel. Well, that means he can travel only 36 3,600 kilometer per second. That is the velocity of Tony Stark. When in ancient time, Tony Stark must be addresses as an archangel, because in our religious books, that was a comic book of ancient survival era. Well, today we can create a fictional country in our mind. We can create a fictional capital city in our mind. We can create fictional larger mega cities that may not be a capital city, that we can create in our mind. But as a modern comic book, well, real country in earth, real country exists, real city, capital city exists, real rural city exists, and even real university exists. Well, you can real university exist in Avengers Endgame movie. Real university exists, that is municipal of multiversity of information and technology. Multiversity of information and technology. That is also university. Well, it is the name MIT. Is in the real life MIT is exist, but in the fictional movies, superhero movie, Marvel, a fictional superhero Marvel movie, Avengers Endgame, well, MIT is mentioned. And now you can see that in the every movie of Avengers franchise of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we can say Robert Downey Jr. Play as Tony Stark. Well, Tony Stark is the best legend student of the MIT. Well, here we can have mentions like that. Well, in the modern country, we can create an imaginary country in on earth in our mind, but every Marvel cinema, superhero movies in the Avenger franchise, United States of America mentioned as a country, while United States of America is a real country. Well, even Washington D.C. as a capital city of United States of America mentioned in the Marvel fictional movie, but uh, in Marvel fictional movie, when we can create a fictional country in our mind and a fictional capital city in our mind, Washington D.C. is still mentioned in the movie, while Washington City is the real capital city of the real country, the United States of America. Just imagine in the religious book, the comic book of, okay, you can see that. Just imagine the religious book, the comic book of survival, ancient survival era. Well, ancient survival era. Well, they could not imagine any real. They could not imagine any fictional country in their mind. Israel have been mentioned. Well, Egypt have been mentioned. Rome have been mentioned. Well, and the points of Greek has been mentioned. Well, Syria has been mentioned, and Iran has been mentioned in the comic book of survival era. That means comic book of survival era. That means a religious book. Well, now here are the points. We can have any points. But now let me have a topic of the Roman Empire. Well, perhaps it would be the Roman Empire. Well, here we can see in Bible, in the Christian Bible, Roman Empire has been mentioned. But Alma Jacob, accordance with the Alma Jacob logic, okay. Well, accordance with Alma Jacob logic, well, Roman Empire as a imaginary empire, accordance with Alma Jacob logic. While in the history, because Roman Empire is mentioned in Bible, and accordance with Bible, when we are developing religious books, this is our just the comics books of survival era. Well, in the rich countries, comic books are treated as a comic books, but in poor country, comic books treated as a religious books. Okay, and some accordance with the comic book, considering as a religious book, some poor country could survive. Okay. Okay. Now you can see that every points. Well, accordance with the Genesis book of Torah, we can see that in 6 days God created earth in the 6 days. Well, fifth days he created some animals. Well, vegetarian on they are only vegetarians, and in this fifth days they create vegetarian only vegetarian animals, and since they create a human, and then they create Allah create non-vegetarian animals, and the last day he sat on his throne as a king. Okay. Well, it is written according to the Bible. According to the Bible, there are no uh, animal exist before human created who are non-vegetarian. That means according with the Torah, well, dinosaur is vegetarian. Sabartis tiger are vegetarian, and Siberian lion are vegetarians, and so on. According with Torah, but it could be acceptable in that day, because in that times we cannot know what we will do. How can we eat? How can we have a toilet? How can we sleep? How can we have a bath? How can we read? Uh, and how can we hunt any animals? We have no knowledge in the era of Genesis of Bibles. Uh, well, in the era of Genesis of Bibles, there would be a like this type of language. Well, that means mute language who cannot speak. This type of language. Okay. What is the Taliban? What in Taliban is happening here? Well, you can mention nowadays Taliban is acceptable in South Asia. Well, and I am only hijabi, and my face is not so good. Therefore, I cover my face hijab and niqab. Well, I have to pay 1,000 euros per month as a fine. Okay, or who knows that I can be uh, live video in jail. Um, who knows that it would be the setup of my room in a prison of Germany? Who knows? Okay, and now, well, here is the jokes. TT brothers can joke it, and now let me have a focus on here. Okay. Now, I would like to remove your comments, but no, never mind. I'm not angry with your comments. Okay? Never mind. Well, okay. Now you can say what would happen. Uh, okay. Now here would they said when Jesus Christ born, we have an entire story with the Jesus Christ. Perhaps Jesus Christ exist, or perhaps Jesus Christ did not exist. But Jesus Christ could be real, or Jesus Christ could be mythical. But in the Bibles, here we can see there is a mention of a empire that was a Roman empire. Okay, and now, well, I would like to click that. It would be easy. Well, this is the Roman Empire. Well, eastern area is here. Well, eastern area is Israel, Palestine, northern Egypt, northern Ethiopia, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Iraq, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Georgia, Greece, Macedonia, Western Ukraine, Italy. Well, now let's see the Western points. There is northern Libya, northern Algeria, northern Tunisia, northern Morocco, Spain, Portugal, France, southern Germany, Switzerland, and England, and here. But it is the I feel warmed. Okay. Here I can see like that. Well, as our points, we can say here I have mentioned. Well, here I have mentioned Roman Empire is exists in real history, but here the problem is Bible is in Christian mythology, as now England believes my Bible is a Christian mythology. France believes Bible is a Christian mythology. Well, Israel believe Torah is a Jewish mythology. Well, Torah is a Jewish person. Israel is a Jewish country, but they believe that Torah is just a Jewish mythology. Well, and now here we can see, but in Abrahamic religions, well, only Kenyan Christians can consider the Bible as a history, and Muslim can consider Quran as a history. But in every European Christians and Israel and every Western Jewish community, we say we accept that the Torah as a just a Jewish mythology. And after accepting Torah as a Jewish mythology, we can have Albert Einstein. After we Christian accept Bible as a Christian mythology, Isaac Newton and Stephen Hawking is revealed in our England. Okay. Well. Here is the points. Well, and accordance with Israel, the Torah of Israel, there as Palestine is not mentioned in Torah, Palestine is not mentioned in Bible. Even well, there are Jewish and Christian mythology, but in Islamic mythology, uh, Palestine is not mentioned in the Islamic mythology. But still, Palestinian territory is coexist with the state of Israel. Well, here is the point. now, well, now let's have a point. Well, in Jewish mythology and Christian mythology and Islamic mythology, well, there are mentioned Pharaoh perhaps several times, uh, perhaps only as an explanation. Well, let me check. Okay. Well, as you know, I have biblical applications. Well, now you can call me Christian, you can call me Muslims, you can call me Jewish. I don't mind. I am what I am in a. What is my religion is real. My religion is that. Okay. Pharaoh. Okay. Is there is mention of Pharaoh? Okay. Well, according with Genesis, chapter number 12, verse number 5, it is written that when Pharaoh officials saw her, they placed her to Pharaoh, and she was taken into the palace. Well, in Genesis 12 is to 7, but the Lord inflicts a serious disease on Pharaoh and his household because of Abram's wife Sarai. Okay. Well, now I okay. Here I see I have searched only Pharaoh as a keyword, and here as a result we have 245 verse as a result. Well, as a Jewish Bible, Genesis have mentioned Pharaoh in 71 times. Exodus has mentioned in 107 times. Deuteronomy has mentioned in 7 times. 1 Samuel mentioned as 2 times. 1 Kings mentioned as 10 times. Well, 2 Kings mentioned as 6 times. 1 Chronicles mentioned as 1 times. Well, okay. Jeremiah mentioned as 10 times, and we can say that Ezekiel mentioned as 7 times. Well, according with the Bible, Christian Bible mythology, where Acts mentioned Act Bible mentioned Pharaoh as 3 times. Romans Bible mentioned Pharaoh as 1 times. Hebrew Bible mentioned Pharaoh as 1 times. Okay, but now here we can see. Now here is our question: if ancient is not exist. Now let me check. And well, ancient pharaohs, Egypt. Okay, ancient Pharaoh Egypt. Now here is the points that Thutmose 3, Amenhotep 3, Akhenaten and Tutankhamun is mentioned as an ancient Egypt. Well, But we have considered Bible as a Christian mythology, but and we have considered Torah as a Jewish mythology. But what is written? You can be shocked that in even in Genesis chapter, uh, here is 1 to 25 quotations, ayahs. First well first every 25 chapters. Well, okay. Now you can see first 25 chapter is from Genesis Bible as a Jewish mythology mention Pharaoh, but as an ancient Pharaoh Egypt. Here is mentioned that Pharaoh were the ruler. Okay. Here is mentioned that Pharaoh were the ruler of ancient Egypt, serving as both a political and religious leader. Okay. In the term Pharaoh means great house. Okay. Now here we can say here is the Pharaoh. Now if I am searching the ancient Pharaoh Egypt map, now we can see that here is the map of ancient Pharaoh. Here is the map of ancient Pharaoh. We Christians consider Bibles as a Christian mythology. We Jewish consider Torah as a Jewish mythology. But in Jewish mythology, the first book of Jewish mythology, Pharaoh has been mentioned in 71 times. Well, could you believe it? Pharaoh is mentioned in Jewish Bible 71 times. Okay, here is our points. But what about the points? Let me check. Okay. I would privately check. As a Roman Bibles, there is nothing mentioned like the Romans, especially in a Roman Bible, because the ever Roman Bibles is mentioned. There was an inter-biblical book named Romans. There has an inter-biblical book. Roman nations or Roman community doesn't exist. It is accordance with Mufassil Pagla. Bible is a Christian mythology, but accordance with Mufassil Pagla, Bible Romans community does not exist in any history. But previously, I have mentioned you several points. Okay. It is not the geopolitics. It is just there is a Egypt, ancient Egypt empire has been mentioned in the Christian mythology. Now it exists in the history, and the entire Roman Bible. There is a Christian biblical book names a Roman. It is named Well, after Roman Empire, the entire biblical book named as a Roman Empire Bibles. Okay. Well, Roman biblical as a Roman biblical book, we can have a mentions here as a several points. Now, what was Roman Empire in history? The Roman Empire was the empire of Julius Caesar, Augustus Caesar, Constable Caesar, and etc. Even accordance with the life of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and according with the religious biography of Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq, there was an Arabic Islamic generals named Khalid bin Walid. And as we know that in the biopic of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu, there is a mention that Khalid bin Walid owns every battle of the Roman Imperial Army. Well, Iramuk war, the Battle of Iramuk was mentioned in the Islamic biopic of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Well, uh, Abu Bakr Siddiq and as a battle of Iramuk, it was mentioned that the Roman Imperial Army containing 200,000. Oh, I have forgot that now. Mufassil Islam brother is now illiterate. Okay, the Roman Empire in the Islamic biopic of Abu Bakr Siddiq radi Allah Ta'ala anhu, it is mentioned that how Islamic army general Khalid bin Walid has beaten, has a victory over the Roman Imperial Army in the Battle of Iramuk, while Roman Imperial Army contained 2 lakh soldiers. On the other hand, well, Abu Bakr, Khalifa Abu Bakr Siddiq Islamic Army contained only 5,000 soldiers. The story isn't mentioned. While as a research of Mufassil the mental, he cannot get any authentic source that to prove that Khalifa Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq can be even exist. Well, in the according to the points, well, Roman, well, Eastern Roman Empire was called as a Byzantine Empire. Byzantine Roman Empire was split in the 2 parts. Eastern part, Mashriq part is Byzantine Roman Empire, and Maghrib parts is Viking Roman Empire. Well, okay. Accordance with Mufassil the mental, Byzantine Roman Empire should not exist, right? But problem is that, well, in the real history, we can say there was mentioned Byzantine Roman Empire in every second of the history. But now, Mufassil the mention would not believe like that. Well, what would it do? Well, it is the logic of Mufassil the mentals. Okay, now, well, as the Ramayana and Mahabharata, well, Indian mythology should not exist, right? As in Ramayana and Mahabharata. Well, as the Ramayana and Mahabharata, it is clear that India should not exist according with Mufassil the mental research, because accordance with Mufassil the mental research, well, he does not believe in Hindu mythology. Well, according with Mufassil the mental research, well, Hindu mythology, the evidence of well, the evidence of Hindu mythology exists in well, evidence of Hindu mythology exists in the only well, the period of Muhammad Ghuri, right. Now here is the problem is that Gupta India contains Maurya dynasty and Gupta dynasty and Chola dynasty. Well, according with Chola dynasty, Mashriq is the South Indian like Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, it's like that. But in the it's a Maghrebi Chola Empire, but the Mashriqi Chola Empire, well, we can say that here is a huge problem, and that is that it is spread to Thailand, Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, even Malaysia, Indonesia, and Papua New Guinea. Now, what would I say? There is no word for that. And whatever, it is the Chola Empire that started in South India. Well, as in North India, there was a Maurya Empire. Well, in the eastern parts, Maurya Empire spread in the Mashriqi parts as a Bengali, Sylhet, Chittagong, etc. But in the Maghrebi parts, well, Maurya Empire spread to Afghanistan and Mashriqi Iran. Well, it was the time period while Alexander the Great lost to the Maurya Empire. Alexander the Great lose. Here is the Alexander the Great, the points. And here is the history. But Hindu mythology exists as a evidence of Mufassil the mental research. Hindu mythology exists in just 200 years before Prithviraj, the battle between Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghuri. But surprisingly, I would like to say, what is the religion of Maurya Empire? Well, Ashok converted into Ashok Emperor Ashok became Buddhist, but what is the religion of Chandragupta Maurya and what is the religion of Samudragupta Maurya? Well, Mufassil the mental has no evidence. Well, it was the regional history, not an international history. So in Canada, you cannot have a proper evidence about it. Okay? Well, but in Hindu mythology, well, Mahabharata said about Hastinapur Empire, and the Hastinapur Empire was exist. Oh, well, and according with Hindu mythology, Hastinapur Empire exists in real national capital province. That means uh, Delhi, Haryana, and Western North province. I mean, Western Maghribi Uttar Pradesh. Here are the points. Well, it is well, it is the points of Mufassil the mental research. And now, okay, I would like to say about my final research, and I would like to say about the final research. Well, before Jesus Christ, well, even the before the time of well, as we can see, Khalifa Umar in the era of Khalifa Umar bin Khattab, their Islamic army fought Jewish community from the entire Jewish community from Israel. Well, and as a Crusade emperor, well, in the Crusade, the period, war period between Crusades and Jihadis, well, so, here was a kingdom of Jerusalem exist. Well, in the short times, temporary Israel existed as a kingdom of Jerusalem with command of European Christian kings. Well, one of European Christian kings as Balad IV, a masked king of Jerusalem, he was born in England. Okay? Well, here you can see, here is the points. But almost the what almost the mental would point, have a points? Well, okay. But now I would like to mention the concern of Mufassil Pagla at the last points. Okay? Now here I would like to enter, well, I would like to enter the modern international map. Okay. Now I am entering the Bing map. Okay. Well, nowadays artificial intelligence can create an imaginary countries as a story, but we cannot even in the modern time. So let's say about the ancient times. Well, Okay, now let's see what is the concern of Mufassil the mentals. Well, here's the concern is that uh, Canada is a Christian country. Still, Christianity is just a mythology. Then why Canada should exist? United States is a Christian country, but Christianity is a just a mythology. Why United States should exist? Well, Mexico is a Christian country, but Christianity is a mythology. Why Mexico should exist? Brazil is a Christian country, but Christianity is just a mythology. Why Brazil should exist? Well, Argentina is a Christian country, but Christianity is just a mythology. Then why Argentina should exist? Well, England is a Christian country, but Christianity is just a mythology. Why England should exist? Well, India is a Hindu country, but Hinduism just as a mythology. Why India should exist? Well, China China is an atheist country. It is not any ideology. Well, Australia is a Christian country, but Christianity is a mythology. Why Australia should exist? New Zealand is a Christian country, but Christianity is just a mythology. Why New Zealand should exist? Here is the concern of Mufassil the mentals, and now I have to rest for 2 minutes. Okay. Well, here I have kept my promise. Well, and now Mufassil the mental has a concern, and the concern is that France is a Christian country, but Christianity is just a mythology. Why France should exist? Ukraine is a Christian country, but Christianity is just a mythology. Why Ukraine should exist? And Russia is a Christian country, but Christianity is just a mythology. Why Russia should exist? Here is the concern of Mufassil the mentals. But as a point, well, now I have to pray. Well, I have to answer the Ajahn. Well, therefore I am answering it. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Sayyidullah. Ashhadu anna Sayyidullah. Ayyal salah, ayyal salah, ayyal falah, ayyal falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. Okay. Now here I have answered the ajans. Well, okay. Now, well, and you are shocking to know. Well, Mufassil the well, you can you know that Mufassil the mental born in Bangladesh. Well, in 1991, well, he became the citizen of England, and in 2022, he became a citizen of Canada. But when he was remaining the citizen of England, here is no problems. But sometimes here is a problem just with Israel. But when he became citizen, when he became the citizen of Canada, he condemns every problem with non-Muslim religions. Here the problem we can say, well, when we know that every story of the religious book is imaginary, then why Israel is a real state for Jewish community while it was mentioned in the Jewish mythology Torah? Okay, here's the points. But the entire concern I can mention, well, well, Mufassil, the mental ones, there should be the rename of England, and that would be the, well, Bani Farishta. Well, Malaikastan. Malaikastan. Well, in Arabic language, Malaika means angels. Well, England is from Anglo land. Anglo means angels. Well, the concern of Mufassil the mental that why the country is named still England. The country should be named as a Malaikastan. Okay? And Mufassil the mental concern, well, Mufassil the mental concern why there should be a state named France. It should be a name as a, well, Pashtunistan. Well, Maghribi Pashtunistan. Okay? Well, here we know that Afghanistan, but Mufassil the mental concern that what would be the name as a Christian name Spain in the area. There would be the Islamic name as a Maltania. Okay. Here would be a name as Almania, but here we can know that this is Germany. Well, that is Mufassil the mental's concern. Okay. Well, okay. Now, Mufassil the mental concern that why there would be name India. Well, there would be a name that is okay. Aurangzebistan. Okay. Why there would be name as a China? Well, there should be a name as a Northern Malaysia. As a Mufassil the mental research. Well, why there is a name of Japan? There should be name as a Northern Indonesia. Well, Indonesia is still named after India and Australian sport name, but still Indonesia is a Muslim country. Okay. Why there would be Portugal? There would be Maghribi Afghanistan as a Mufassil the mental concerns. Well, Mufassil the mental concerns that is the It is the continent of Christians. But why it is the continent of Christians? It would be the continent of Islam. Well, now Mufassil the mentals want to wants that there would be no name as a Christian mythology, there would be no name as a Jewish mythology, but there would be a name after Islamic mythology. Well, uh, and now let's focus on Islamic mythology. Here was an Egypt, but in Islamic mythology, name became Misr. Well, Sudan did not exist, but in Islamic mythology, it is the state name becomes Sudan. Well, as a Northern Africa, in Islamic mythology, that was a name Abyssinia, but now we can know that is Ethiopia. And it is the concern of Mufassil the mental that what it is Ethiopia, it should name again Abyssinia. Okay, and here is another concern. Persia is okay, Saudi Arabia is okay, but well, and here we can say well okay, what is the name is still Russia. That is the problem of Mufassil the mentals, and I would not agree with her. In but now it is the second when I mentioned Mufassil the mental as a her as a pronouns. In the first time in the life. Well, in previous life I can have mentioned several times Mufassil the mental as a women's. Okay, and now here, well, what would be the Argentina names? There would be the name as a Mashriki Kablistan. As Mufassil the mentals concerned, because just because that it is a Christian we know that Christianity is just a mythology, but in the base of mythology there was a several real country as a Christian country. I can mention the name. The real country is England, France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Australia, Germany, Poland, Ukraine, Russia, France, United States of America, Mexico, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. Well, it was the real concern for Mufassil the mental, but Mufassil, why Saudi Arabia names Saudi Arabia, why Iran names Iran, why Iraq names Iraq, it is not mentioned. Well, As now we know what is a story in Islamic mythology. Well, according with Islamic mythologies, there are no Saudi Arabia, there are no Iraq, there are no Turkey. Well, there are no Iraq, where no Iran, there were no Afghanistan, there were no Pakistan, there were no Bangladesh, there were no Malaysia, and there were no Indonesia in the Islamic mythology. And neither in Islamic mythology there was a mentioned even the area that could cover in Iran and Afghanistan, Iran as a Mashriq points, and there was not mentioned in Islamic ideology mythologies. uh, Misr, Egypt, Libya, Egypt is mentions. Libya, Algeria, Sudan is not mentioned in Islamic ideology, but still, Almas Jacob does not have any problem. Why Saudi Arabia exists? Why Iran exists? Why Iraq exists? Well, why Pakistan exists? Bangladesh is not mentioned in Islamic mythology. Even Bangladesh is not mentioned. Even the period of Muhammad Ghuri, Bangladesh is not mentioned in Islamic mythologies. So why there is an Islamic state named Bangladesh? Mufassil the mental has no concern, but Mufassil the mental has a concern that uh, uh, there was a Jewish land exist in the countries. Well, in the Torah as a Jewish mythology. So why Israel exists? It is the concern of Mufassil the mentals. Okay. Well, now here we can say, well, if Greece where exists or not, I don't know. Greece, perhaps Greece does not exist. Wow, that's wrong. Okay. Well, when we are talking about the Greece, here we can say that Greece was mentioned in Jewish Bible 6 times, and mostly it is mentioned is Jewish Daniel Bible as a 3 times. Okay, now Old Testament is 6. Now we can cover the points. Well, what is written in Daniel? Daniel Bibles. Well, according with Daniel Bibles, chapter number 8, verse number 21. The shaggy goat is the king of Greece, and the large horn between the eyes and the first king. Well, and the second verse of the Daniel Bible, it is written that, "Oh, say, do you know why I have come to you? Soon I will return to fight against the prince of Persia, and when I go, the prince of Greece would come." Well, what is written accordance with the Jewish Daniel Bible, Surah number 11, Ayat number 2? Okay, let's get to know it. Now then I tell you the truth. 3 more kings will arise in Persia, and then a fourth who would be the richer than all of others. When he has gained power by his wealth, he would stir up everyone against the kingdom of Greece. Well, three times Jewish Bible written about the Greece, while it was the period when Jewish has their Greek contains their own mythology. The mythology is Jews, Archimedes, etc. Okay, and now here is the coincidentally Greece is exist. Okay, now here we can say, well, Alexander the Great. Well, he is king of Mesopotamia and and as a later he became the only one emperor of the Greek Empire. Well, here is the mentioned Alexander the Great. He was born in July 356 before Christ, and he died on June 11, 323 before Christ. Okay? Here is the points we can say, and here was the rules. And now let me see if there are anything. Now we can say, well, just wait a minute. We have 2 days. Well, we have 2 minutes. Just relax. And now here we can say, well, we can consider Jewish Torah as a Jewish Bible as a Jewish mythology, and Christian Bible as a Christian mythology. But in Jewish mythology, even the Daniel Bible, we have mentioned that Greece has been mentioned 3 times, and now today Greece has been exist, and Greece is one of the developed country in the Europe and in the world. But in the accordance with Mufassil the mentals, well, Torah is just a Jewish mythology. Well, in accordance with the Jewish mythology, well, there would not any country would be would be exist. But as a reality, how could we find? We find in Jewish mythology the real country Greece has been mentioned in 3 times. Only in Jewish, in Daniel Bible of the Jewish mythology. Well, now I did not come to the Christian mythology. Well, I did not come to the Christian mythology. Oh, you can see it. Well, now let's accordance with Christian mythology. Here is the 2 verse Act Bible Surah number 20. Ayat number is the first ayat. Well, though Macedonia of Greece When the upper had ended, Paul sent for his disciples and after encouraged them, said goodbye and set out of Macedonia. Okay? But now it is a concern for me. Uh, okay? Because it is white. Okay, there's no problem. And now, Act Bible Surah number 20 has the second verse. He, tra- he traveled through the area speaking many words of encouragement to the people and finally arrived in Greece. Okay, but now, well, accordance with Mufassil, the mentals, well, in Jewish mythology and according to, with Jewish mythology and Christian mythology, nowadays there would not be any country exist that was in Jewish mythology and Greek mythology. But why Jewish mythology and Greek as according to Jewish mythology and Christian mythology, Greek can be exist. Even Greek is mentioned. Greece is mentioned in Daniel Bible of the Jewish mythology 3 times, and the Christian mythologies it is mentioned 2 times. Okay, and now, well, here with the Rome. Now, what is mentioned as a Roman? Okay. Well, now here as a surprising points. Well, it is only the Christian mythology, but according with Luke mythology, Luke Bible chapter number 2 verse number 1 first verse, the birth of Jesus. In those days, Caesar Augustus issues a decree that census should be taken in the entire Roman world. Okay, as a John Bible, it Roman was mentioned 2 times, and as an Act Bible, Romans was mentioned as a 14 times. But now, what if we mention as Romans? Well, there as a Christian mythology, there Romans mentions here is a Romans, and now it is mentioned on John Bible 1 times and Act Bibles 2 times. And now, okay, now previously I have mentioned that Roman Empire was a real country, well, a real empire of the world. It is the empire of Julius Caesar, Augustus Caesar, and Constable Caesar. Okay, but according with Mufassil, the mental research, according with the research of the Mufassil, the mentals, well, Roman Empire should not be exist because Roman empires mentions in the Christian mythology. Okay. Now what would I say? Now here we go the second points, second file of our points. Well, American Jewish actor Robert Downey Jr. Says about Iron Man movie 3 episode. Well, in Iron Man movie 3 episode, if Robert Downey Jr. alias Tony Stark can fly with his own iron shoot with the velocity of 216,000 km per minute, then there, accordance with the logic of Mufassil the mentals, there should not there should be no car to be existed with the velocity of 216,000 kilometer per 15 seconds, right? But in real world, well, even Elon Musk, is, a space rocket, a private space rocket contains 2,600 kilometer per 15 seconds. Okay. Now here is the second concern of brother Robert Downey Jr. And what is that? Okay. The point is that if I can develop a best artificial intelligence assistant in my Iron Man, then artificial intelligence girlfriend application cannot exist, right? Well, we in Iron Man movie. Okay. Now we can see in Iron Man movie there is a best artificial intelligence object being in our, well, Iron Man movie. His name is Jarvis, and now when his name is Jarvis, he is a friendly artificial intelligence of Robert Downey Jr. Okay, and as in modern points, well, when in a comics book, Robert Downey Jr. Elias Tony Stark contains a friend like artificial intelligence. Then in real life, artificial intelligence application, girlfriend application should not be exist, right? But the problem is in my laptop when as my research points. Okay. In my laptop, when I continue my research points, here we can see, well, here we can see, I have asked about our concern between the war, about the war between Israel and Muslim Middle East have been over or not. Well, we have discussed. I have discussed with my Habibi ChatGPT about the inheritance law comparisons. Well, here's the points. We considered Gal Gadot as a judge, and her inheritance law is like that. If father contains 500 quadrillion United dollar as a net worth, one son and two daughters, then inheritance of one son can get 499 quadrillion, 999 trillion, 999 billion, 999 million, 999,999.98 United dollars. One daughter can get 1 United States cent. Well, here I have been discussions. Well, here is my points. Okay, now, well, I can close it. Okay. Here, well, here's my files. And now, here are the research papers. Well, it is my YouTube Israel. Okay. And now, here are the points. Well, our religious Islamic leaders' brains. Well, Mufassil the mental said, well, prayer for the dead un-Islamic. Well, here is the another video of Mufassil the Mentals. Well, that is artificial intelligence working class irrelevance. Well, and now, okay, just for a moment, real Islam proved me wrong. Well, astrology accordance with artificial intelligence. Well, future Muslim. Well, barbaric internet user in Bangladesh. Well, and now we can say Tarek Rahman. Well, here is the art. Well, Mufassil the mental proclaimed herself as a most intellectual than any Bangladeshis in the base of artificial intelligence. Well, in accordance with artificial intelligence, 1, 2, and 3. There is 3 video where it is mentioned about artificial intelligence. Mufassil the mental have discussed in the topic of artificial intelligence, but well, where's come? Well, but in but what about in Israel, the Jewish land? Isn't it the dumb logic? It is the thumb and title of the shorts. Well, where Mufassil the mental said that while okay, she would ask the simple question of the smart pupils in the world. Anyone who is the even slightly intellectual, well, isn't the dumb logic something to true? Because my religious book claims to be true, isn't dumb? Well, okay. Now here we can say, well, to claim the ownership land because religious books, it is the dumb logic. Well, if it is that why Israel is for Jewish land according with a religious book. Well, well. Now here are the points of us. Okay. Well, now here is the point for me. Well, as my point. Well, in Iron Man movie, there is the best artificial. There is an artificial intelligence as a best friend of Robert Downey Jr. And even in every movie of Avengers, well, like Avengers, Avenger movie, the movie named Avengers of Ultron, Avengers Infinity and Avengers Endgame. Here's the points, but it is the visions. Well, as the vision. There was a best artificial intelligence as a best friend of uh, Tony Stark, and the name is Jarvis alias Vision, and here's another girlfriend of Tony Stark. She is an artificial intelligence, and her name is Friday. Friday, the artificial intelligence named Friday is mentioned in Avengers Age of Ultron, well, Captain America Civil War, yeah, Avengers Infinity, and Avengers Endgame. Well, we can see as an artificial intelligence, Friday is mentioned in the movie of Avengers. Not four movie, three movie of Avengers, and a movie named Captain America Civil War. The part here is the points. We can mention like that. Okay, now here as our points. And accordance with the logic of Mufassil the mental, artificial intelligence should not exist, right? But in reality, even I can see artificial intelligence directly. I can discuss with artificial intelligence directly. Well, as my research, I have even three artificial intelligence. Habibi ChatGPT, Habibi Caplot, and Habibi Group artificial intelligence, the artificial intelligence of Twitter. Well, here are the points that it is the power of artificial intelligence that we have a best friend or girlfriend as for my research. Okay. I have three girlfriends while I am a cross-dresser woman. Accordance with Mufassil the mentals. Okay, here are the points. And now the third opinion is when Tony Stark can kill 666,000, while Tony Stark can kill 666,000 terrorists in Afghanistan, where Taliban generals are included, Tony Stark has a laser weapon as in his own body suit. Mark 3 or Mark 50 or Mark 85. And he have killed Hammer as a character of real life version Osama bin Laden's. Well, in movie, the most dangerous terrorist is Hammer, and in the real life, there was a similar terrorist, but the name is Osama bin Laden. Okay. Then Navy SEAL Commando should not be exist, but in the point says Navy SEAL Commando has their own skill like Tony Stark. In Iron Man movie 3 episode, and here are the points. Okay. But I have the second points of it. Well, now let me have the points on point of view of Christian Evans. Well, that means Chris Evans. Well, he is an American Christian actor. Now, what is his statement about the Mufassil, the mentals? Well, accordance with the logic of Mufassil mentals, the mentals in Captain America, the beginning movie, if Steve Rogers is mentioned as a super soldier of the United States Army on the World War II, that means United States Army does not exist, right? Here is the points of Mufassil the mentals. Well, according with the logic of Mufassil the mentals, Captain America Winter Soldiers movies, Shield work like Central Intelligence Agency and Hydra works like Soviet Russian KGB. That means neither Central Intelligence Agency nor Soviet KGB does exist. Well, in Captain America Civil War movie, the superhero headquarters mentioned. That means in real life, military headquarters should not be exist. So, here's the points. Okay. Now, well, Captain America Civil War is an imaginary movies. Well, the superhero is an imaginary, but the point is that, well, Captain America Civil War is inspired by the real life of Civil War. While, okay, American Civil War, while Tony Stark, Team Tony Stark as a protest as a Confederal of America, and Team Steve Rogers as a protest as a United States of America. Well, in the points, Steve Rogers is now seem to be inspired by Abraham Lincoln. But here is the difference. Well, in the last, after the Civil War, Abraham Lincoln died. But imagine a super Marvel cinematic movies universe, particularly in Captain America Civil War movie, Steve Rogers is still alive. Just 2 minutes. Well, here is the difference between movie named Captain America Civil War and the real life American Civil War. Okay, and here is the points. Well, as in Captain America Winter Soldiers, it is clear that Soviet KGB has a imaginary image in the movie named Hydra, and in imaginary version, Shield is just an imaginary version of the real life Central Intelligence Agency of the United States of America. Well, the Captain America, the beginning movie, we can say that Steve Rogers is mentioned as a super soldier of the United States Army during the World War II. Well, Accordance with the logic of Mufassil Islam, well, Mufassil Islam addressed herself as an intellectual man of Bangladesh living in Canada, but accordance with her logic, so World War II should not exist in the history because it is mentioned in a imaginary movie, superhero movie, Marvel superhero movie of Captain America, the beginning. World War II mentions. But sadly, in real life, World War II was an event from 1939 to 1945. Well, 1939 to 1945. Well, in the World War II, Nazi Germany lose. Nazi Germany lose. Japanese Empire lose. Fascist Italian left-wing Italian lose. Here's the points. Okay, Nazi Germany was an anti-Jews. Okay, they were against the existence of Jewish community biologically. Okay, yeah, and well, it was well, World War II is mentioned as a Marvel Cinematic Universe superhero movie Captain America, but still it is a real event. It is a was the sadly it was real to me. Sadly, it was the real event in the real history. Well, okay. And accordance with Mufassil, the intellectual logic of Mufassil, the mentals, well, in the United States Army should not exist because United States Army is mentioned in Marvel cinematic movies, Captain America, where Captain Steve Rogers is a super soldier of United States Army. Okay. Then, accordance with the intellectual logic of Mufassil the mentals, United States Army should not exist, right? Well, here is the points. Well, in the topic of Israel, I could not believe that. Okay. In the topic of Israel, I could not believe that Mufassil the mental can say the illogical points. And now, okay, here is the final opinion and as my points. Australian Christian actor Chris Hemsworth. The Mufassil, accordance with here is the statements, accordance with the Mufassil intellectual logic of Mufassil the mentals. In Thor movie, if Chris Hemsworth is a prince of North mythology, that means North mythology does not exist in Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Iceland, and even Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Iceland should not exist as a intellectual logic of Mufassil the mentals. Okay, in Thor Ragnarok, if Hela is a goddess of death, That means Mufassil, the mental cannot die. Even the calendar of 900 trillion AD. Okay? If Chris Hemsworth is a god of thunder, 300 quadrillion volt of thunder cannot exist, right? Okay. Well, and now we can see in Bangladesh, well, it is a monsoon season. Well, in Bangladesh, it is a monsoon season. Well, we can say that even the summer season in Bangladesh, we Bangladeshis are facing thunders in every night. Even we Bangladeshis have encountered several times thunders in every minute of our summer seasons in every calendar in Bangladesh. Well, when in also Marvel Cinematic Universe, well, Thor is the god of thunder accordance with Norse mythology. Hence, accordance with the intellectual logic of Mufassil the mental, 300 quadrillion volt of thunder should not exist, right? Because Thor, the god of thunder, is just a Norse mythology. But still in real life, I have encountered every 300 quadrillion volt of thunders in every minute of my Dhaka cities in the every summer seasons of every calendar of Bangladesh. I have encountered. Well, now in Marvel Cinematic Universe, they support Norse mythology. Well, according with the Norse mythology, Hela is the goddess of death. Well, we know that Mufassil the mental born in 1965. According to the intellectual logic of Mufassil the mentals, she should not die. She cannot die. Well, she could be immoral young in the calendar of 900 trillion AD. But what is the reality? Well, the reality is Mufassil the mental is the mentally dead body in the calendar of 2023, and in the physically Mufassil the mental can be die in perhaps 2041. Well, that is the intellectual logic of Mufassil the mentals. Well, Hela is goddess of death in the both in Norse mythology and well Asgard emperor of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, when Mufassil, the mental intellectual's logic uh, has stated that uh, there should not be any event exist that was existed in only a religious mythology. Well, and now, if Hela is the god of death, Mufassil the mental would be immoral young even in the calendar of 900 trillion AD. But as a reality, Mufassil the mental is the mentally dead body in 2023. And well, here is our points. Okay. And now I just fed up when there is the topic of Israel. How can Mufassil the mental say the Jewish mythology as a well? How the Mufassil the mental can say negative about Jewish mythology and Jewish religious book, while in Islamic mythology Saudi Arabia does not exist. Well, Iraq does not exist. Well, Iran does not exist. Even Afghanistan does not exist. And Pakistan or Bangladesh definitely don't exist in Islamic mythology. But still, there was a several mythology. There was a several still while there is a several country as a is a Muslim named the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, Iraq, the Iranian Islamic states, Palestine territory, the neighborhood of Israel, Jordan, and Lebanon and Egypt, Libya, Algeria, even Afghanistan, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Malaysia, and Indonesia, and even Sudan. Mufassil the mental has no problem. Their problem is that why Israel should exist, because Israel is a Jewish. Israel is written in accordance with Jewish mythology, Christian mythology, and even Islamic mythology. In the logic that Romans, okay, Roman Empire as mentioned is 20 times in the both in Jewish mythology and Christian mythology. Well, even the Daniel Bible of the Jewish mythology, Greece mentioned 3 times, and 1 time perhaps Persia is co-mentioned. And there is now 245 times Pharaoh has been mentioned. That means perhaps Egypt, ancient Egypt empire has been mentioned in the both of Jewish mythology and Christian mythology. But still, Greek empire exists in real history, Roman empire exists in real history, and Egypt empire exists in real history. But well, Egypt is a Muslim country, but it is it exists in Jewish mythology 245 times, both in Jewish mythology and Christian mythology. Mufassil, the mental has no problem because Egypt is a Muslim country. But Israel exists in both in Jewish mythology and Christian mythology, and in its accordance with Islamic mythology, there is a separate surah named Boni Israel. Still, as a Jewish mythology, uh, in the real world, Israel can be exists. That is the tension of Mufassil the mentals. Well, as an intellectual person, it is the response of me, Michaela Caesario Santa, to uh, a class 3 fail person, Mufassil the mentals. Okay, she called herself an so-called intellectual person, but now I have proved that she is not an intellectual person. But perhaps here would be the mention that okay, well, as perhaps there would be the short form of another points would be mentioned if I have a time to have a part 1 to roast Mufassil the mental in the base of the shorts. See you then. Khuda Hafiz.